Most of the girls that you meet online, and well, I should say most of the girls that I met online, I've only been gaming in person for three years approximately, and I haven't been doing amazing. Okay, I have not been doing amazing, and that's just a self-admission. I know that my sexual market value is not the highest. Okay, I know that it's not incredibly high. I'm probably not the most objectively good looking guy out there. But from my experience, this is how, and the reason why I say that is because if I was, I probably would have a lot different reaction. Because if a girl is attracted to a very hot guy, she is going to react to him differently than she would react to a guy who's either average or below average in the looks department, right? So a lot of times what guys in the red pill and, well, I shouldn't say the red pill, but a lot of time I would just say the manosphere. A lot of guys in the manosphere, their impression of women is going to be affected and determined by how women treat them. And how women treat them is directly correlated to their looks, how good looking a guy is. And a lot of people like to say, oh, looks are just outward, right? People are deeper than that. Women are deeper than that. No, people are not. No, women are not. Okay? We all judge based on outward looks. We all, want somebody who's attractive. If you're not, then you're just SOL. You're shit out of luck. Many guys aren't. I don't think, from my experience, from what I've observed, most guys are not that good looking, right? I don't think men evolved to be physically good looking. I don't think that's how our biology is centered. I think our biology is more centered on we've evolved to survive. We've evolved to provide. We've evolved to work, right? That's how men have evolved. And women, their biological imperative and their reproductive strategy has been to be good looking, has been to evolve in such a way that they are physically attractive. Okay, that's why most women are decent looking, whereas men, on the other hand, we are, evolved to be, workers. So with that said, you have to factor in, there's a lot to factor in, right? Gynocentrism, hypergamy, feminism, right? Current trends, current dynamics, right? All these things you have to factor into the equation. So, what equation am I talking about? So, like I stated before, from my experience with online dating, and my experience, my limited experience in-person dating, when you date online, from my experience, when I date online, what I notice mostly is women just don't care. They don't put any effort into talking to you. They don't put any effort into really even responding to you unless they're slightly interested. If they're slightly interested, they'll respond, but you're not going to get quality responses. You're not going to get quality interactions or quality conversations, not at all. Just not at all. I've in 10 years being online dating, I haven't experienced that at all. If a girl's interested in me, she'll mildly respond, and I might be able to push for a meetup. If I get a meetup, you know, it goes from there. Whatever happens, whether we date or whether we just hook up, whatever, right? But there's no effort put forth on their part. Doesn't matter how great my profile is. Doesn't matter how jovial I seem with my banter. It doesn't matter how, amazing or humorous or funny I am in conversation. None of that matters, because first of all, it's online dating, right? So they don't have to try. If they're mildly interested, they'll maybe put forth a little bit of effort. Secondly, my SMV is probably not very high, right? Probably not that high on the sexual attractive scale. Okay, maybe a 6 or a 7 if I'm lucky. On a good day, if I'm honest, maybe a 5. I don't know. I really don't know. Haven't been rated. But I'm not the worst incel. I'm not like the biggest virgin out there. I mean, I've had a lot of sex. I've had a lot of girlfriends. Probably maybe 20 girlfriends in my life, in my 30-something years. Most of them were probably between 3 and 6 months long. Had a couple that were over a year. Had one that was like 3 years. So, I'm not the biggest player, but I'm not the biggest loser either, right? So I've got some experience, but I'm smart enough to know that girls don't respond to me the same way they respond to 8s, 9s, and 10s. Whether I'm a 7 on a good day, if I've been hitting the gym a lot the last year or whatever, I'm in shape, I'm dressing well, maybe I could push a 7, maybe, on a good day, if my diet's right, right? But probably, on an average day, maybe I'm a 5, right? So that's just being honest. And so they're not going to react to me the same way that they're going to react to 8, 9, or 10. They're just not. No matter how good my game is, etc., right? And the game does matter. Game can help. But online dating, it's not. Online dating isn't game. Online dating is not game at all. Game is in person, right? Game is, you can work a little bit of text. You can work a little bit of game on text. But game is just, online dating is just, looks. It's all about looks. You have to, and there's luck involved too. She has to be in a position where nobody's fucking with her for a while, so she's like, okay, I'm ready to to meet a guy, and then you got to make sure that no other guy who's hotter than you comes along, because if they do, you're screwed. I mean, online dating is hypergamy on steroids, right? That's all online dating is straight up hypergamy. Okay? But let me factor something else in. They don't have to care, if that makes sense. There's a revolving door of guys ready to take your place, ready to jump in and get your girl, ready to jump in and get some pussy over you. That's endless, right? So on the one hand, you should have abundance. On the one hand, you should know that you've got tons of options. On the other hand, you should know that she's got more abundance than you. She's got tons of options more than you. And the difference is she does the choosing, right? So it's kind of a catch-22. It's kind of a paradox. On the one hand, you should have standards. And this is something that I've always said. I've always said this. Men need standards. On the one hand, you should have standards, right? And you should, abide by those standards. Don't date no single moms. Or if you do, just make sure you pump and dump. Don't simp, right? Don't chase her. Don't simp. Don't placate. Don't be beta. Don't, validate yourself, or, try to validate her and supplicate yourself to her. Don't do that. Be alpha, be strong. You're the prize, right? On the other hand, you have to understand that this is a paradox. So on the other hand, you have to understand that she's got tons and tons of options. So on the one hand, yeah, work on your confidence. Be as alpha as you can. Don't be beta. Don't supplicate. Don't beg for pussy. All right? Women want that. Women want you to be alpha on the one hand. On the other hand, they want you to be beta. They want to subjugate you. They want you to chase them. And here's what I do. Here's what I do to circumvent that. Okay? What I do is I just cut right to the chase. Let's meet up. Let's hang out. If they don't want to meet up and hang out right away, then I know that they're just wasting my time. 100%. They're looking for validation. They're looking for attention. That's it. Right? If you're interested in me, if you like my pictures or whatever, I know most don't, but if you respond, it means there's some interest. Well, maybe it does. See, if they respond, it could be one of two things. One, no one's giving them attention, and they want some attention from you. Right? That's what validation means. These girls are not getting attention from anybody, probably because they're on a dating site and they're so low on the value scale or the look scale or whatever that nobody's giving them attention. So here you are giving them attention. So they talk to you, and then the only reason they're talking to you is so they can feel better about themselves. You're essentially like in the friend zone without really ever, understanding that you're in the friend zone. Like, it doesn't matter if you understand it or not. It's just what it is. It's like there's nothing you can really do about it, because if she responds, you're going to respond back to her in kind. And unless she meets up, then that whole process of her responding and then you responding to her responding and banter back and forth or whatever is just a big waste of time, because all she's really looking for is attention. But here's what I do to circumvent that. I say, let's meet up. If she doesn't want to meet up, then the conversation's over and she can go get validation and attention from some other guy. I'm not a simp. I may not be the best looking guy. Okay. You didn't choose me. Okay. Fair enough. But I'm not going to hopefully give you attention and act beta, which is what these women want. They want you to act beta because that's part of their narcissism, right? That's part of their, I think Rollo Tomassi used the word solipsistic or something like that. Solipsistic, I think is what it is. Solipsism or something like that. Which is basically like, not quite narcissism, but it's basically like, you feel like you are the center of your own world. Like you're more important than anything else in the world, in your own world. You're the most important thing, right? Of course, as men, they don't treat us, they don't teach us and raise us to be like that. They teach us to be self-sacrificing as men. As men, they teach us to be, to sacrifice for something greater than ourselves, right? Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country, right? Women are naturally solipsistic, okay? They feel like they are the most important thing, and this is one of the biggest things that's always turned me off about women, is the fact that they can't get over themselves. And I used to call it narcissism, but since I learned that new word from listening to Rollo Tomassi, I'm going to start using that word, hopefully, instead of narcissism. Although there's a lot of narcissism there too. Boil it all down, it's ego. I'm more important than the man. I'm more important than... And if you do studies, like I always talk about, I do these studies on Facebook where I post stuff and I like to see people's reaction to what I post. You will have mixed reactions. This is why I know MGTOW is not totally correct. It's not all women are like that. There are variations, and I learned this not the easy way. I learned this the hard way. There are variations in women, But again, there are major things, that affect, all across the board. So when it comes to in person, it's a little different because they don't want to waste their time. If they don't like you, they don't like you, and they're just going to walk away from the conversation. They're going to exit. They're going to say, "Well, I got something to do. I got to go," or "I'm not interested," and it just is what it is. And that is what it. And that's something that guys like me who are not quite as good looking as other guys, something we got to bear, right? We just got to deal with it until we get lucky. And unfortunately for me, I go for a lot of hot girls. So when I'm out, gaming, I go for the hottest girls. And so that's where something maybe I need to work on, or something in my game I need to work on. But I don't have a lot of luck probably because they're out of my league. But at the end of the day, the reactions you're going to get are telling, right? So if you are in the dating game, if you are out there, plugging away on the dating sites or in-person game, there's some cues that you can learn to pick up on, whether or not she really likes you, whether she wants to put you in the friend zone, things like that, right? There's some cues that you can pick up on. Anyway, I just want to talk about that for a second. Appreciate you guys listening. It's been Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Peace.